Tesla is facing several self-imposed deadlines in this, their prove it year. Well, that's the headline Business Insider is going with. And for once, I don't disagree with the headline. The story itself, well, it goes off a bit in its own directions, but I like the premise. There's a lot that Tesla needs to get done this year with autonomy, with manufacturing, with new things like robotaxi and the robots themselves. And why don't we bring in the energy sector as well? Tesla has some proving it to do, and we're going to talk about that. And can they do it? And that means I got to be joined by somebody. Why not Randy Kirk? That is not a question for the comments.
Okay.
That is not a question for the comments, you guys. I don't need to know why not Randy Kirk, but we'll get into it. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So Randy's got his own channel. If you haven't been over there, what are you doing? I don't believe you. Check him out. It's on YouTube. He's linked in the description, as is our book. Not his book, our book. I contributed a good 6%, 5% of the content, maybe. So I am in there, as are my jokes. AI Rising, the dawn of mankind in animal form with meat computers. I think that's what it's called. So Randy, we are having a chat here about Tesla's self-imposed deadlines. Did you have any thoughts before I get into the article itself?
Yes, I was thinking this morning as I was reading that article and others by other nefarious online media, that it's so interesting that sometimes, as you just pointed out, they'll get some part of it right. And then you'll go to the next paragraph. And it's like, what planet are, I mean, it's not like it's a debatable issue, but it'll be just so completely wrong that you're like, I can't remember who it was, had an article this morning, and it was talking about the number one thing that could really get Tesla sales going next year would be Cybertruck. And I'm like, where did that even come from? I mean, sure, if we had a $60,000 or a $50,000 Cybertruck, and maybe but it's not on anybody's
so
list.
I have an answer to that, and it had to be pointed out to me by viewers, is it could be that that's just a not very well-crafted AI article. Because I've seen people write these articles and I'll be responding to them going point by point, going like, what are you talking about? This feature you're saying is on the Model Y. That's on the Cybertruck. And I can understand how an AI would conflate it, or maybe a kid doing a class project who didn't understand anything about the source material. But what I do want to talk about this, because we've got this whole thing going on here.
Sure.
What on earth are we talking about? Self-imposed deadlines, self-driving tech, expect something special from the Roadster. Let's just go through it because there's a bunch here. Self-driving software, fully autonomous robotaxi, humanoid robots, and the Roadster demo. Those four are a good place to start. My question for you would be, on self-driving, what is your benchmark for success? What is your over-under for where Tesla will be this year in order for them to have a successful 2026? Is it unsupervised for you and me?
I had 4 or 5 different answers as you were asking the question, because as you put different parameters on it, it kept changing my mind. Okay, so I think there's really 3. I think there's 3 that we have to take into consideration. One is the robotaxi rollout itself, and whether that will be at least, let's say, 100,000 by the fall or the winter of this year of 2026. And if it ends up being 10,000, I think that'll be a miss. If it ends up being 50, it's probably okay. I think 100,000 is really kind of a minimum to be a real solid success. And then Elon's only going to be happy if it's $500,000 to $1 million. So that'll be one.
I'm going to stop you there. Let's
3.
get into that a little more. So if it's only 10,000 deployed robotaxis by the end of 26, on or before the 31st of December, you would call that a miss?
I call that a miss. Now, there might be explanations. And there might be direction with no, but I mean, there also might be direction with regard to the next quarter that would cause you to go, okay, that's an okay miss. But yeah, I think 10,000.
We're talking deployed of any form factor, whether it's Cybercab or Model Y. If it is a robotaxi in commercial operation, 10,000 is a miss, 50,000 is okay. 100,000 is where you want it to be.
That'd be a solid
Okay.
get.
Okay. Again, that's not just Cybercap. That's all of it. Autonomous, revenue
Right.
generating. Okay. And then the next element you were going to mention?
Would be the unsupervised. So unsupervised, I'm okay if at the end of the year it's still only regional or there's some kind of guardrails around it. But there needs to be this. We need to go to unsupervised. I actually put out a question the other day as if I was, on the conference call after the earnings call, saying, Elon, you said that we would get both full self-drive. I mean, we would get robotaxi expansion by the end of 2025. And you said we'd get unsupervised regionally by the end of 2025. Does that mean that whenever one happens, the other will probably happen around the same time? So that's a question I have for the call if it's not answered before the call. And so same thing is true. I'd like to see unsupervised tomorrow or, the week after we get some expansion in the robotaxi
Okay.
world.
Now, I will point out to viewers again, the SAE levels 1 through 5 are kind of meaningless. They were established before any of this technology existed. They were guidelines that futurists kind of had to guess at what is important. FSD unsupervised was never announced to be level 4 when it was originally sold. It was that you would still be in the vehicle and that it could operate autonomously with someone there. That's level 3, where you don't have to be paying attention, but you have to be available. So if it's driving into a storm, it might notify you saying, hey, in the next few minutes, you might need to take over. That sort of thing, I would still count that as unsupervised. If I can do work, if I can read a book, if I can watch a movie, I'm not supervising, I'm counting that. I would prefer to be able to go to sleep or have the vehicle empty so it can operate as a robotaxi. But I could see robotaxi being something that has a separate fee for someone who could pop in and take that control when it needs extra guidance. I don't know. So all of that I think is reasonable. So let's jump.
Then the third part of that, I said there was going to be 3, so we don't want everybody to just fill up the comments because I didn't put number 3. Number 3 would be the combination of those two, which you just mentioned, which would be that there would be an Airbnb version. We would be able to put our cars out into the fleet. If that doesn't happen by the end of the year, that would also be a miss, in my opinion. Again, regional,
not unrestricted everywhere, and certainly if it's only in one country, I'm not counting that as a failure. If it doesn't expand beyond the US, I'm not counting that as a failure. But in terms of your 100,000, regardless of region, I understand. Okay. So now we've got the next thing, humanoid robots. What is your benchmark for a miss? What would be something where you say they didn't get it in 26?
Okay, so they need to have the line set up, the million unit per year capability set up by the end of the year, in order for it to be in the middle of hopes, dreams, and desires. That's the middle. That's the base case. Now it'd be a miss if they just made 5,000 off their pilot line and put those in the factory and got them working. Again, we could see really solid videos or something that would make us go, okay, we don't care that you didn't get the other part done by the end of the year. But 5,000 working in the factories would be like, if you don't do that, everybody's going to start going, wait, is Elon going to have his first ever failure? And then, of course, the goal would be that Elon would finish the new factory, which he says he will by the end of the year. The 8 million, he's going to make an 8 million square foot factory by the end of the year. Anyway, maybe it's already started someplace, we just don't know about it. And that, which I also have a question about, is that sounds to me like 100 million a year capacity factory, because I've done the math before on building out the even 100,000 a year factory, and you in 8 million square feet you can do at least 100.
So you're saying 5,000 is the minimum, but 1 million is the target. You do understand that those numbers are fairly different.
No, the 100 million, the million a year line established. The line
Okay.
is ready to go. They're producing something on that line. Doesn't have to be a lot, but they're producing on that line. And then, so if you want the middle ground, it would be the 50,000. Maybe they finished that line in August and they're starting to ramp, and now they maybe make 50,000 by the end of the year. That'd be kind of, I think, the middle ground of what Elon has talked about.
And you believe a 8 million square foot robot factory will be built this year?
That's what he said, and I'm very confused. But maybe he's only said it once, and maybe we're all confused.
Well, my question to that would be, do we need to have HR drug test you?
Now, maybe that 8 million square feet is what it will eventually be, and there will be phases. So
It's got to be phases.
putting up
8 million square feet in the
that's
U.S.
a big factory.
It can't build it in a year in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but they're not gonna.
They're not gonna.
Yeah. And then, of course, showing off the one long delayed new vehicle. What I would say is there is nothing less important on the roadmap than the Roadster.
Nothing less
Would you
important
argue with
than
me?
maybe the solar roof changes, all the upgrades to the solar roof. That might have been
Sure.
less important than the Roadster.
I feel like those are just incremental changes. I would say that even if they had a RoboVan event, that would be more
More important. How
more
about adding
impactful
states to insurance? Maybe that would be more important.
Yeah, but they wouldn't hold an event for that.
Yeah. No, Roadster's fun. I mean, it's going to be great.
It's fun.
I'm sure that Elon's going to have a great time with it. And finally, those people that put up their money will get their vehicles. But that's not going to happen this year. Elon said, even though we'll have the event this year, we won't start shipping until 2027. So, but at least people can get an idea what it's going to do.
Yes. Okay. Now, I'm not going to ask you to assign a pass-fail benchmark for the Roadster because as exciting as it is as an individual thing, it's the cool thing you put on your poster. It's not the thing that makes your company more or less successful.
Right.
I don't see Tesla making money on this product
Maybe.
because because it's going to be low volume anyhow you slice it, and a huge percentage of the ones that will be sold were already given away as referral bonuses from back in the early days of Model 3 ramp, when Tesla was doing anything they could to move units with no caps. So I know people who have one due to them. I'm aware of people who have more than one due to them.
Wow.
So those were exciting days. I didn't have a channel then. I didn't get a referral account until the end of 2023. By the way, I should mention that it is the new year. So if you need to use a referral to get a discount on your Tesla, I think right now you get $250 or $500 off for using it. And then you get a month or 3 of free FSD. I don't remember what the promotion is, but it's a better deal. You can use my referral ID. Randy's got one as well. He almost never tells anybody. He's very private about his referral ID number. It's weird, but hey, he's a weird dude. What do we got going on? The other thing is, I would add to this list batteries. I, of course, expect Shanghai's ramp to be evident in its completion. I expect to see the beginning of the ramp. I can't see a way they miss that in Texas. Are you expecting any growth out of it? And I don't mean growth that we can see on the map today that, well, they'll start selling units from Texas. They'll start showing up at the financials. I mean growth either in capacity at existing facilities or in new facilities, new manufacturing facilities being announced.
Yeah. So all of the above. I continuously expect them to find a way to make more in Lathrop. I continuously expect them to be able to make more in Shanghai, but I do have a question with regard to Shanghai that's on my list for the earnings call also, which is, I thought it was fully ramped. I thought somebody said it was fully ramped, and yet we're only shipping at the very most about a third of what the capacity would be if, in fact, we're getting 100% out of Lathrop. So something's wrong at 14 and a half being the best quarter yet. That's about 14. We have a capacity counting the wall units, the power walls, we have a capacity of 21 and a half to 22, and we're only shipping 14 and a
Mhm.
half. So what's the
Uh,
missing piece in all that? Yeah.
would you like to
Oh,
know?
sure. Tell me. Tell me.
Yes. I've seen people dispute this, but not with any credibility. As I understand it, deployment isn't fully counted until it's electrified. So everything that's been shipped, even if it's received partial payment, doesn't count as fully deployed until it's fully deployed. So if they were to stop making them today, we would see another 7 or 8 quarters of deployments
Mhm.
because they're still counting them. So what that means is at some point they will be producing the full 20 per quarter, but recording more than 20
Yeah.
because the flywheel has been spinning
Right.
up for so long. There's a lot of momentum in there that has yet to be
All right. So
recognized.
part two of your question is yes, I expect them to announce at least two. No, not at least. I expect them to announce two more locations this year where they're going to be making either megapacks or megablocks, probably megablocks, being that it's such a much cooler product and probably much more relatable, probably much more correct for what's in demand right now at the data centers and for the grid. So yeah, that's that second part. Did you have a third part to that? I forget.
I don't think I did. I think that was it. Is yeah. So then the question in summary, and by the way, guys, there is a much deeper dive we're going to be doing on this because we're going to be rediscussing this whole conversation, but in terms of global competition, global players in each of these sectors, and how wide is Tesla's moat? Should we worry about it? That went up yesterday for members and whatnot on Patreon, on YouTube, on all of those, all of these things. And yeah, if you need to check that out, go check it out. But it's a deeper dive. It's not for everyone. Not everyone needs that depth, but I do. Oh man, do I
You're a
need it?
deep guy. You're
Uh,
deep.
I, I'm so deep, man. So in summary, the question is, how many of these things are they going to hit and miss? And if they only hit your medium expectation, has it been a failure of a year? Is the stock even worth it? We need all this growth. Our PE is very high. Do we need? Is it working?
If they hit
Is 26 going to be a big
if
year?
they hit the medium on all three, I still think the stock will be at or around 1,000 by the end of 2020, by the end of this year. But they'd have to meet the median on all three. The most important one is going to be robotaxi. So if they do get to 50,000 and there is and you can see the future, you can see where it's going to be added, you can see the rate at which it's going to be added, you can get some way to graph it out. Then I think, yes, we get to the full 1,000 by the end of the year. Unsupervised alone could, by itself, could get us close to 1,000 because I think it's going to create a massive uptick in the number of cars and the uploads of FSD, and that alone could dramatically increase the price of the stock.
Uh-huh. Okay. Um, all crazy.
Yeah.
But we're crazy people. If I would agree that if you get to 50,000, the roadmap becomes very clear. If you're doing, one car, it's like you've probably got 10 people watching that one car. If you've got 100 cars, you could have 100 people watching the 100 cars. But at 50,000, you know that it's 10 to 1, 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1, whatever it may be. And you can see how they could brute force scale it from there or gain efficiency to get there. Uh, I have concerns that 26 will be another gap year because we do not have clear guidance on robotaxi deployment, in my opinion, but we definitely don't have clear guidance on Optimus, and that's another big factor. We're going to get much deeper into that. Guys, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it into them comments below, and everybody else stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots, perhaps on that bonus one, or, just in real life. I'll be at the supermarket later. Maybe I'll see you there.